scale regarding our great continent, Africa, and how we can not just propel the success of large businesses and their impact on the African economies, on the countries that are our host countries, but on the global stage, but more importantly, to be able to integrate the socioeconomic development of the entire value chain and the entire supply chain, and indeed the host communities and the stakeholders who we have such an impact on. And by so doing, propel the growth of business that also propels the growth of the overall economy. They say that a rising tide lifts all boats. I think that women who are very often, and I've always referred to, as the strongest and most important economic unit on the African continent that really holds this continent up. What we're seeing at the moment is that by enhancing the involvement of over 50% of the population now as the workforce, women and young people as well, who now are about 60% of our demography, are going to play such a critical role in re-engineering the economy, in fact, the world economy as we know it, especially because whatever happens in the world always has such a huge impact on the continent that we love. And so it's really important that you bring this thought panel together of the role of women, and more importantly, that we recognize the roles and the impact that women are already spearheading, the difference that they are already making. And we also acknowledge that, you know, the world is beginning to speak not just as sustainability as a mainstream, but also talking about ESG as a core risk consideration in making investments. So in other words, it's very, very real in terms of being able to access capital. We're talking about things like impact investing, which also include completely alternative views of the economy. And that's where I'll stop, which I think that women are intuitively primed to understand. We've always talked about the earth as Mother Earth. I always say that it's not a coincidence that it's the female gender, because when you talk about regenerative economies, or when you talk about circular economies, or when you talk about the well-being economy, all of which are linked to sustainability, it's the women's perspective, or rather, let me say, it's the feminine perspective, which also as much exists in men as it does in women. I think the Chinese call it the yin and the yang. So in other words, you have to have both sides in order to make up a whole. And in that regard, you know, one of the things I've taken on recently is the chair of the Circular Economy Innovation Project for Africa, working with the AFDB and other actors to really begin to ask ourselves how we can rethink the way that we do business so that it's environmentally, socially, and economically more inspiring and empowering and impactful beyond profitability. And I am 100% sure that with women at the table spearheading this agenda, the only way is up. Thank you very much.